And now, the Goldbergs. There's an old Latin proverb which goes something like this. After you hire the guards, who you're going to hire to guard them? And right now, that seems to be the situation at the Goldbergs in Glastonbury. Young Christopher Cater, psychiatrist, medical doctor, psychologist, is trying to help Sammy and Sylvia straighten out their confused and almost ruined lives. But his interest in the case is beginning to get rather unprofessional, although he thinks he's the only one that notices it. Meanwhile, Sylvia's father is arriving in Glastonbury this afternoon, and Molly's discussing him with Dr. Cater. Listen.
Doctor, have you time to sit down for a few minutes?
Indeed I have, Mrs. Goldberg.
Thank you. Thank you for your gentleness, Doctor. Please sit down.
Thank you.
I'm glad Sylvia went to the station to meet her father, and for that I have to thank you, too.
That's quite all right.
And, Doctor, what did Sammy say when you told him that Mr. Allison was coming?
Oh, he's worried, naturally.
Why do you say naturally, Doctor?
Well, he feels that Sylvia's father can be coming here only for one purpose.
To take Sylvia back with him, huh?
Yes.
And, Sammy don't want that, huh, Doctor?
He doesn't like anything that'll force him to give up Sylvia.
Oh, I see.
That's why he doesn't like me.
I'm sorry, Doctor, because,
You like me.
Very much. I like you very much. And I see what you're trying to do. So you'll have to pardon Mr. Goldberg if he's a little impatient. He thinks your method of curing is new-fashioned.
Yes, I know.
Maybe it has a new name, but I know that your kind of curing is as old as the world. I know that. So if Sammy or Mr. Goldberg, I don't want you to be insulted.
Oh, but I'm not.
I realize this is your vacation, and what you're doing for me is a special favor. And, Doctor, believe me, I appreciate your coming here. I just wanted you to know that, Doctor.
I do.
And now that Sylvia's father will be here, maybe, as you said, you can speak to him and learn a good deal from him and help Sylvia also. If there was some help for her, Doctor, it would be wonderful. I personally, for personal reasons, could only see in Sylvia what was hurting my son. So I feel guilty, Doctor, that I couldn't even try to see reasons and wherefores for Sylvia. You can understand that, Doctor. It's very human when the shoe is on your foot. And it takes a bigger person than me. I wouldn't say to forgive. I forgive her. But to forget and let bygones be bygones and welcome her to my heart, I couldn't.
I know.
And don't think I like myself because I can't. But mothers are selfish for their children, Doctor. Very. Do what you like to me, but leave my children be.
Yes.
That's stronger than I am, Doctor. Stronger than all my philosophy. And Mr. Goldberg calls me Shakespeare because all my life I had a word for everything.
Well, we'll soon have everyone here who's necessary to the solution of what's troubling all of us.
And there was somebody else also, Doctor.
Oh, you mean Sylvia's brother-in-law, Ed?
Yes. She told you that herself?
You see, he's not important as a person, only as a symbol. One of those whom Sylvia tried to destroy.
That word is so funny, Doctor. Destroy. Did she?
She did. People destroy not so much what they hate, but what reminds them of their own cruelty, stupidity, or inadequacy. They invent hatred to cover up. And Ed reminded Sylvia that she hadn't succeeded as a person in life.
Well, that's true for more things and bigger things in the world than just Sylvia.
Yes. The feeling of inferiority is at the bottom of most trouble among people.
Oh, the train is coming into the station now, Doctor.
The train coming through the Connecticut hills to the small town of Glastonbury brings the last figure in the story of Sylvia Allison. And as Dr. Christopher Cater makes his way back to his father's house, he assembles in his mind the blocks out of which he intends to reconstruct the world of Sammy and Sylvia. He moves slowly around the bend in the road, feeling the summer sun on his shoulders, and then the coolness, the shadow of an overarching tree. This is the countryside of his childhood and the peace and quietness of a home he loves. It seems strange to him that he, a boy from this small town, should interest himself in the quirks of the human heart and mind. And then he thinks of his own as he nears the door of his father's house.
You live most of your life without knowing yourself. The closest and most secret thing in your life. Yet, to know yourself is the beginning of knowing others. The beginning of everything. Each time I take a case, I start with my own reaction to the patient. And yet, this time I haven't. I've stayed outside, looking in on them. Not daring, perhaps, to see closer. But there'll be no end to this unless I do. Now, that girl is a queer one. Saner than all of us in her unusual way. She seems like a piece of clay waiting for a potter to mold it. You look at the beginning at this shapeless or badly shaped thing, and you know it can be anything you want it to be. But Sammy isn't the one. No. Not that confused child who hardly knows himself what he wants from the world. If I had time, if I had the patience and desire, I could turn Sylvia into, I wonder what.
That you, Chris?
Yes, Dad.
Has his father come yet?
Oh, he must be on his way to the house now.
Well, come in and sit down. You look warm. And thoughtful.
I'm warm.
Have a drink of juice, then. I just made it myself.
Oh, thank you.
You know, by the end of this week, you're supposed to be leaving for Canada. You're supposed to be leaving for Canada. You're supposed to be leaving for Canada to finish your vacation.
Yes, I know.
Think you can do anything with Sammy by then?
Oh, I don't take him as seriously as his family does. He'll straighten out. It's Sylvia who's the real patient.
I see.
What do you see?
I see what you mean.
Oh. I think I'll wire my friends that I won't be able to make it this year.
You'll be awfully disappointed.
Well, I like Glastonbury. And it's enough of a change from the city to make it a vacation.
Well, it's your vacation.
Why? You want to get rid of me that badly?
Not quite.
And I'm saying.
What's wrong with Sylvia?
Nothing.
Then why is she patient?
Because she doesn't know how to begin living.
You going to teach her?
Oh, I'm a doctor, not a...
Not a what?
That sentence seemed to go off on the deep end. I'm not quite sure.
You know, Chris, I'm kind of a psychologist myself.
Well, everyone is, more or less, Dad.
Well, I'm a very special kind.
What kind is that?
One of those who can prophesy.
Oh, a prophet.
Yes. I've got a great streak of prophecy in me, Chris, especially when it comes to you.
Oh?
And you know, I feel a spell of prophecy coming on me right now.
Are you sure it's true?
Oh, I'm a real prophet, Chris. That's the one thing we don't tell.
Then speak, Oracle.
Go to Canada and let Mr. Allison find another doctor for his daughter. Or you recommend one.
Oh. Why should I do that?
Because if you don't, we'll be having to send to New York for another doctor to look after the doctor that's looking after Miss Allison. Well?
I'll have another glass of lemon juice.
What are you going to do?
Stay?
Old Dr. Cater pours the cold drink into a tall glass. The ice tinkles, and he doesn't dare to look at his son, who watches the juice bubble as if it were the most important thing in the world. And be sure to listen tomorrow to the Goldbergs. This is Bill Rogers saying goodbye for the makers of Does, the new kind of granulated soap for all three kinds of wash.